I am not going to lie. I'm a little nervous for this episode.
Uh-oh.
So, with paranormal, for me personally, there are certain things that I don't normally touch or talk about. And the reason being is because my personal belief is there's certain things you shouldn't mess with.
Oh no. Are we messing with something today?
We're not messing. We're talking about, but there's some things I don't even like to acknowledge because I feel like it brings stuff in, and this is one of those things that make me super uncomfortable. I don't know why.
You're making me nervous.
I'm a little nervous too. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, let's hear it.
Today we are gonna talk about some Ouija boards.
Oh God, I've got a story.
No, you've done one?
Well,
no,
not a real
Paige.
one. But you talk about your thing first, and then we'll get into mine.
I've never touched a Ouija board in my life. I've never been in the room because I don't mess with this.
I feel like you heard this story before. I feel like I've definitely told you. But, you get into your thing, and then I'll get into mine.
I don't do you want me to read my stories and you can tell it? Here, you tell yours first.
Okay, so, Abby and we made our own little paper Ouija board.
Are you serious?
This was years ago. I am dead serious.
Oh my God.
And then it was the thing that we used for the little glass thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a plastic heart, like the Easter eggs, but it was like a heart, like for Valentine's Day. And so we put it on, put the 2 fingers, and we asked it questions. And when we would ask it a question, we had our fingers at the circle bits of the heart, like the round part of the heart, and the pointy part of the heart pointed upwards and started dragging around the paper.
You're lying.
I am not.
You're the reason that house is haunted.
Probably. But I don't remember all the questions, but I do remember that its name was Boez. Boez. So...
That's like the Bobo's episode.
Bobo's? That was a creepy episode.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You're the reason that house is haunted. I'm telling Mom and Dad.
No, factors why that house is haunted, because remember the knocks? Mom and Dad talked about the knocks.
Yeah, did that happen before or after you did that?
After.
Yeah, see, you're the reason. Hate that house.
You know what? You only have to go there for holidays, which is... there's a holiday tomorrow, so...
Fantastic! Can't wait. Thank you for that information.
It wasn't just me, it was also Abby. So...
I'm gonna yell at her tomorrow.
Abby! Yeah.
I hate everything about that. Why would you do that?
We just wanted to have fun.
That's not fun. That's not fun. Look at that house.
It was fun to us.
That's terrifying.
Now there's... Boz is... hanging out at the
Stop
house.
that. Don't see it's me. We're gonna summon it here. We don't want that
say
shit.
It 3 times, otherwise it comes.
Stop it. Don't do that. You will actually make me just cry. Stop it. You can't do that.
Alright.
Terrifying. Like these stories. These stories are terrifying. Okay. I haven't read full these.
Ready. Just like the reincarnation one, I love the Ouija board.
Ouija boards genuinely terrify me. I will never touch a Ouija board. Will I be in the same room as one? Maybe.
For some reason, I always think of that one Supernatural episode where I guess Dean dies in the hospital, and then Sam, he brings out a Ouija board and tries to talk to Dean. Yeah.
I vaguely remember that.
It just reminds me of that episode.
Reminds me of horror, death, and demons and gross stuff. Everything I hate.
All right.
I'll never do one, but I'll read about it.
Okay.
And that is the extent that I will.
I would love to hear about it.
All right. So, the first one we have. You may believe this or not, but everything I'm going to type out here is 100% truth. Me and my friends were curious about the Ouija board just over a decade ago. I went to her house when I was 17, 29 now, for a Halloween party. We were too drunk, so we decided to organize another day and gather most of the same people, but to do a Ouija board and seances, etc., but sober and with an open mind. There were a lot of us there, and we took it in turns so that there wasn't a group of us using it at once. At one point, I thought I was talking to a family member until things felt different. Someone with a particular hatred towards me specifically. It spelled out the name Baal. I had never heard of this name before. I searched it later on and discovered it was the name of a demon. Now, despite everyone there being in Catholic school our whole lives, I can say with certainty that no one gave a shit about religion at all. Nobody knew the name of demons. After a girl there began to feel sick and became extremely drowsy, we agreed to call it off and put the whole thing down to a crazy experience, but nothing more. I didn't stop the itch from me to keep it going. This is the background context of how it started and led to what's to come below. After this, me and two of my closest friends at the time used the board on a regular basis. We used it to communicate with spirit guides and other random supposed spirits. We also spoke to demons, lots. Baal was a frequent interpreter of this. However, my spirit guides told me I had a gift of exorcising bad spirits and demons. That is why the Baal hated me. That is what some force in some spiritual war to come when I die, and his intention was for me to commit suicide instead. All the demons' intentions. Yes, I know this sounds like I've relayed some crazy plot, but hear me out. This is why we used it so frequently. I felt like I had a purpose in doing it. All of the board sessions I've had speaking to all manner of spirits one time in particular scared me like no other. One of my friends increasingly became sensitive to the emotions of other spirits. We agreed to do a session. It seemed someone needed our help amongst exercising. We also aided spirits to move on. We spoke to a girl, angry and in pain. This turned out to not exactly a spirit and caught me off guard. I heard in my right ear a loud, piercing scream. I jumped, trying to not take my finger off the board. I said to my friend that this isn't friendly. I heard another scream. Distant but loud and sharp pain shot through my head. The type of feeling you have when you have a brain freeze. I used to feel this when speaking to our being around the demons. We tried our best to get rid of her, but we couldn't, and eventually just stopped. I have never felt so audibly heard anything that violent in my life. This is why you don't do Ouija boards.
We only done it once, and I'm not gonna do it ever again. But that is creepy. The first thing I thought of was B, the letter B. What is up with that?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of demons. I don't want to say the names out loud too much because that's why I'm kind of spelling it. See, I don't like saying them out loud because I feel like it just brings them there, or they're like hear it. Ooh.
I don't understand. Why is every creepy thing start with B? Bobo, Bose. I don't want to say that other one.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, Ball.
If it's to me, if you're at a Ouija board, right, and it's spelling something that you're not quite understanding,
yeah,
don't say it. It wants you to say it. Don't say it.
Well, that's just a typical word, like it Ball, right?
Yeah.
That's just a word. We like hear that every day. Like there are sports, like you
Baal.
Oh, Baal. I thought it was Ball. I was like, that's just a word.
Maybe that's what I said. Did I say that?
I don't know. I don't
know. It was Baal.
Baal. Okay, so I was thinking it was the word ball, but
yeah.
Oh, kind of.
I feel like with a little like emphasis elsewhere.
I don't know. I feel like
I'm not gonna Google it.
Yeah, how to pronounce? Yeah, we're not good.
That's why I like to spell it because I don't want to draw that. No, someone else had issues with it. It's not gonna be me.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, but that poor girl, just like experiencing that, and first of all, yeah, as someone who has messed with a Ouija board, air quote that because it wasn't really a Ouija board. Don't buy one. Don't mess with one. It's just not great. And you could like open a portal to something you don't want to.
Well, and here's the thing: if you don't close it properly, then you get things that follow you and attach to you. So, like, that's why she tried not to take her finger off the board, because you take your finger off the board and you don't say goodbye properly, then they follow you. And now you have attachment issues. And now you have all these things going on.
Always say goodbye. Make sure that it's closed.
Bye, flip it over, done.
Yep.
Ugh.
You have to make sure that you follow every rule correctly. Otherwise, you just don't know what you're going to get into.
Now, like, I'm not a huge, like, to the T rule follower, but there are things that you just need to follow. Yeah. It needs to be that way.
It's important.
Well, like, I just think it's so interesting how she said that she has a gift for communicating with demons and spirits. I wonder how she felt the need, like what those urges felt like. She's like, I kept doing it because I knew I had this connection. Like, I want to know what that connection felt like. And just, is this her first time doing it? Has this been a lifelong thing? Or is she just discovering this? I wish we could get a little bit more history on that part of it.
Right. Yeah.
I wish we could have more stories on that. I'll have to check her account and see if we can get more stories of like, hey, have you done Ouija boards since? Or was this your only experience?
Ouija board one and done. Not even, most people will say not even one and done. Some people say 0 and done. 0's good for me.
0 is good for me. I am one of those people that's 0 and good.
And also, definitely don't make it on a piece of paper and copy it from a picture from Google, and then that's what we did. We did it because we didn't think it would work, because it wasn't a real Ouija board. It was just a 8.5 by 11 piece of printer paper, and we just put it in pen.
Well, here's the thing about Ouija boards is I don't think you necessarily need like a Ouija board. I don't even think you need like necessarily a board.
Yeah.
All you need is an open connection, an invitation. You need an invitation.
Yeah.
If you invite it, it comes.
Yep.
Like, I don't think you need a Ouija board for that. I think you can use just about anything and be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to do that here because I'm not messing with that.
Oh, yeah.
But everyone's like, oh, let's do a Ouija board. Man, you don't need a Ouija board to do that. You might get some communication that's a little bit more clear and spelled out. But if you're wanting something to happen and you're openly asking for it and making it happen, you're probably going to get something coming through.
It's like seances.
Seances, don't mess with that. Nothing good comes from that. That's why I talk about, like, that's why I'll never do it. Because I've never heard a good story about a Ouija board or a seance going well. I've never heard of it.
It's always gone really bad and really poorly. And I've seen ghost adventures do it, and it's not recommended.
Well, that's just it. I don't know, because people are like, oh, we'll do it, and I don't think it's going to work. Nothing's going to come through. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if you think it's fake or nothing happened. Nothing needs to happen for something to be there, because you may not be spiritually sensitive. Maybe there's something over your shoulder and you just don't know it. Give it a week. Give it a week. You're going to start seeing something happen.
Yep.
And maybe not everyone has that same experience. Maybe you get lucky, but these are just one of these things that you don't mess with.
Yeah, don't let things come to you. Definitely don't mess with this kind of stuff.
Because it's not a joke. This can hurt you. Yeah. This can actually hurt you. Because you're not just talking to spirits, you're talking to demons.
It's a risk that you shouldn't make. That's just,
Well, and it said in here, that it was trying to kill her by suicide. It was trying to kill her. This is why you don't do that.
It reminds me of the Haunting of Hill House. My God.
Yeah, that's like basically what it is.
Yeah, where the house is trying to like kill her, kind of.
Well, it killed the mom, it killed the other girl, and this is what happens. This is why you don't mess with bad stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Life lessons. I'm going to get on my soapbox, I'm going to step off, I'm going to read a story, I'm going to step back on it. Because I'm very passionate, like, don't do this. You don't do this. Yeah. I can't preach that enough. I will never, ever, ever do it. Maybe one day, and I doubt this will ever happen, because I'm like one of the only people that'll actually talk about paranormal stuff.
Right.
But if I ever come across a situation where there is a Ouija board in the room, I'm not touching it. Maybe be in the room, but I'm not touching that thing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like even just being in the same building as it, it can affect you as well.
Oh, I think so too. But I think you're so much more at risk by touching it. I won't touch that. Yeah. You cannot convince me otherwise.
Think back, I'm pretty sure Mom and maybe Dad was home. I don't remember. So sorry to Mom and Dad.
I'm telling them tomorrow if they don't hear it by then.
Well, I feel like they know. I definitely told Dad, and he probably thinks it's a joke.
He probably does.
I think
he can
his
do it.
reaction was he laughed or something. So he probably thought we were lying.
Yeah, and he's probably like, let's do it again. We'll see what happens. Absolutely not.
Oh, yeah. All right. What's next?
Next. Title is Don't Use Ouija Boards in Dorms.
Ooh.
In fall of 2018, I started my freshman year of college. To preface, the dorm building I moved into was a renovated seminary building, aka a school where men would go when they wanted to become a priest. On the banks of the Mississippi River, the seminary school was originally built in the early 1800s, but closed years later, and my college purchased it in the 90s. They renovated it and opened it into the early 2000s, dedicating the campus to the fine arts students. The dorm hall was one of 3 buildings on the campus. The building's first floor held classes and the dining hall, and the second and third floor were the dorm rooms. This meant my 8 a.m. was a literal elevator ride away. The doors were a suite style, so I had a roommate, 2 suite mates, a living room, kitchenette, and bathroom. Upon moving in, the things were normal for the first couple days. Then weird things started happening. My decor started falling off the wall, even though my roommates and I all used the same command strips, most notable being my wooden cross I hung up on my closet. I would hear running and the fridge slamming outside of my room, when I was certain my roommates had all gone to class. I would nap and wake up to my room door being open when I knew for a fact I shut it and you needed a key card to open the room. Each of these I rationalized. I heard the fridge slamming because one of my roommates came up from class to grab a drink/food and needed to get back. Both of my suite mates were dancers, so this didn't seem too far-fetched. I got the faulty command strips from the bunch, etc. However, the second week of school, my suite mate thought it would be a good idea to pull all of our schedules on the fridge so we would know when the others were in class. This was when I realized that the times I had been hearing the fridge slam shut and running, I was in fact the only person in the room. I had even asked my roommates if they had come back and they said they hadn't. That night started a week-long streak of waking up in the middle of the night with panic attacks. I would wake up around 3 a.m. feeling like someone was pushing on my chest and I couldn't move or breathe. One of the nights, the last, was so bad, once I was able to move, I ran to the bathroom and sat under cold water and called my mom bawling. Not the kind of call she thought she was going to get from her college freshman at 3 a.m. The next day, when my roommate got back from class, she told me about a student she overheard, wondering what students had moved into our dorm room under because she wanted to talk to us. About half an hour later, this really petite girl shows up at our dorm room asking if anything weird has been happening, all while staring intently at me. Obviously, I say yes, and then she proceeds to tell me what happened the year prior. The group of people who lived in our room the year prior used a Ouija board and accidentally ended up drawing a malevolent spirit into their room. She explained that she was in touch with the spirit realm and didn't think the entity was still there, but its energy remained along with some of the others that were drawn to it. One of these energies being a woman. Then she focused all of her attention on me again and said, "It's been picking on you, hasn't it?" I then proceeded to explain everything that had been happening, to which she responded that she could tell that it was targeting me because I had a very bright light energy. However, she paused for a second before stating that she felt a protective energy with me in the room and asked if I had any relatives pass away recently who may be protective over me. I immediately responded yes, as I have had many family and friends pass over my lifetime. But what she asked next gave me chills. She proceeded to ask with her head cocked if my relative's name was John. My grandpa John passed shortly after I was born. I barely knew him, and there was no way she could have known his name. Stunned, I nodded and she explained not to worry too much because he was there to protect me. After she left, my roommates and I kind of made it all a joke, mostly because I think we were all freaked out and knew we had to continue living in the room until the end of the school year. We stupidly gave the female ghost a name, Avery, and deemed her an honorary roommate to try and lighten the situation. Later that week, my roommate and I were sitting in bed when a mirror of mine fell off the wall. I, frustrated that it was only ever the things that fell off my wall, yelled, "Damn it, Avery." And instantaneously, my cross fell off the wall. However, when I put it back up, I noticed the command hook was still on the wall, meaning my cross couldn't have fallen off. It would have had to have been lifted off the hook in order to fall. My roommate and I looked at each other, jaws dropped, and erupted into nervous laughter. After that, nothing ever really happened again. The next semester, one of my suite mates commented that we haven't heard from Avery in a while. The following morning, I was headed out the door to go to class and walked by one of the mirrors in the dorm room. In the reflection of the mirror, I caught a glimpse of a pale woman with dark long hair and a white nightgown standing right behind my shoulder. I skeeted out of the room so fast that I did not look back. The next day, my roommates and I were all sitting in the living room, and the one who made the comment about not hearing from Avery said, "Oh, by the way, I saw Avery today." The entire room went quiet, and each of my roommates' faces went pale. I quietly said, "I did too," followed by my other roommates stating the same. We each exchanged what we saw, and when each of us saw the same thing. That truly was the last time we encountered Avery. When we moved out in the spring, we decided that was her way of saying goodbye to us. I will always wonder, though, if the students who moved in after my roommates and I experienced anything.
Weird.
I got chills from that one.
That's so wild. First of all, you're in seminary, and your thoughts are, let's conjure spirits. What?
Mm-mm.
Okay, and second of all, these poor girls, mainly because they didn't even do it, they weren't the ones messing around with the Ouija board, and yet they got the end of the stick for it.
Yeah, they got the short stick with that.
Yeah, that's what I meant. They got the short stick, and they have to deal with it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. They shouldn't have named it. That was dumb. I don't blame them, because you want to be like, oh, give it a name so you can talk about it, but like, giving it a name, that you're not supposed to do. I can't remember what it's called, but I think it gives it something to be called, and you're like humanizing it, and you're like bringing it towards you.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Making it, I guess, you're making it connect to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like when people name dogs or something, and they can't keep the dog, like
you're creating a connection with something you shouldn't.
You're creating a connection, and it's never good. If it's with dogs and you have to give that dog away, you're going to be really sad. With entity, it's not going to be great.
No, it's going to attach to you more. But the girl from the floor below really throws me off. The fact that she picked up on so much so quickly. She's like, "Do you have a relative named John?" You wouldn't know that. A girl you've never met.
I feel like she would have to have some sort of psychic medium kind of situation.
Oh, you'd have to. There's no way.
For sure.
My gosh. That'd scare me.
Mm-hmm.
I'd freak myself out. Because at least when she was talking about the presence in the dorm, it wasn't like, oh, there was still something malevolent there. It's just the energy of it and what it brings. Yeah. So that's good. Like, at least they're not like super bad. But I would actually just shit my pants if I saw like a woman over my shoulder. I got goosebumps from that.
No, I hate mirrors.
I don't look at mirrors at night.
I hate mirrors. It's just, I find mirrors so creepy. When I lived with mom and dad last year, my mirror would be facing me as I slept, and sometimes I would have to turn it around because I hated it. I just didn't want to see something that could have been behind me.
A lot of people, and I kind of believe this. I don't know, because mirrors do creep me out. Like in the daytime, it's fine. Mm-hmm. But I honestly don't look in mirrors a whole lot because a lot of people say that mirrors can be a portal to the other side.
Well, that game, that Bloody Mary game that people, what we used to do, it like you go into the bathroom and you turn around and say Bloody Mary.
You know that Netflix show, that 28 Days Haunted?
Yeah.
Did you see where that one medium was like, I won't do that mirror scrying?
No, I only watched the first episode. I haven't gotten past that.
So, yeah, there was a medium in there that said that she wouldn't do any mirror scrying because, I think it's called scrying. She wouldn't do it because she did it one time and it went very poorly. And because of that, she doesn't do it and she said it is a portal to the other realm. That's why you don't mess with them.
And, okay, this was a viral video that went around it was probably like 2012 or something like that. And when it was obviously from YouTube, and it was edited, it was fake, but a lot of people thought it was real, especially like kids. It was a bathroom mirror, and this person went into the bathroom, and then it was just this really creepy ring looking person screaming in the mirror, and everybody thought it was real. Everyone was freaking out over it. When I saw that, it definitely messed me up for a long time until I found out years later that it was fake. I was messed up by that. To this day, I do not like mirrors at night.
Did I tell you about the one dream I saw with the mirror?
No.
Oh my gosh. So this was actually only a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
Oh God.
I had a dream, and you know how you can't really make out too many faces in your dreams? Like they're just kind of like you can, but you can't, you know?
Right.
Like you know the faces, but at the same time, like a lot of them are really blurry. Well, I remember being in my dream and it was dark, and I knew that there was a mirror like in front of me, but I wasn't looking at it. And I don't know why I did this. But I was like, I'm going to look in the mirror. And I looked in the mirror and it was me staring back at me in the dark, but it was not me. It was so deformed and distorted. And I just remember the face even getting more contorted. And I woke up just sweating and in a panic. It was so, don't ever look at yourself in the mirror in a dream or at night. Don't do it. It's terrifying.
Dreams are scary. Like
I have such bad nightmares.
If you've ever heard about like when people just they'll be dreaming and then all of a sudden they'll be like, I know this is a dream, and then the characters in the dream will be like,
they stop. I've had them stop and stare.
Yes, that's so creepy.
I feel like everyone just stops and they like turn to me, and no, I'm not about that.
No, that's really creepy. Another thing that creeps me out is nighttime and like looking outside.
Oh,
especially at mom and dad's place.
Oh, there's it's so creepy. There's one. Well, I swear to God,
windows.
I'm really scared that one day I'm gonna look out that dang window. There's just gonna be someone standing under the damn light.
Birch tree. Or the light.
The light out in the driveway and the birch tree get me.
Oh.
Also, like, if you're driving down the road, I just feel like one day I'm going to see someone standing at the end of the gravel road, you know? Like, where the woods are, in the haunted grounds. I'm terrified that one day I'm just going to see someone standing there.
I'm scared that I'm going to just see anybody standing anywhere in the yard. Mainly by the birch tree in the front yard. And then
by the woods.
By the driveway. You know that birch tree by the driveway?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Like those windows by the living room, and then the windows in the kitchen, I hate looking out.
I just don't.
It's just at nighttime, it's just creepy. And then the other day here, I was really scared. I walked down my bedroom. I think I was just filling up my water bottle because I needed to drink. But I go out of my bedroom and I refused. I don't know, for some reason I was just like scared, but I refused to look out of the windows because I thought it was going to be a similar situation to mom and dad's. Because for some reason I think I'm going to see the girl from the ring or something like
I know, I'm always afraid someone's going to be staring back.
Woman in a white dress with long black hair.
Yeah, when I'm here alone, I just close all the blinds because it creeps me out, and I don't like the idea of people looking in, because at night when you look into people's houses, you can see everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So I have to close everything.
Yeah, and that night the blinds were open. So I just, for some reason, I just felt weird. I just didn't like it. So I filled up my water bottle, and I ran back to my bedroom, and I jumped in my bed because I also think that something's going to grab me from underneath my bed. That's just monster stories. But
see, that's why our bed is on the ground. Nothing can grab me. But I have had, there was a time, remember when Connor and I took a little trip to Duluth?
Yep.
And did I tell you this story about how we were in that B&B?
You said that was it Airbnb?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Airbnb was really creepy. That's what I remember you talking about.
Okay. I won't say whose B&B it was because I don't want to take away any business or give them a bad rep, because the girl was very, very nice. She was a very, very sweet lady. But we were staying in this old B&B home, and it was a very big home. She has several rooms to host people at a time.
Yep.
And in the house, you go in, and there was so many dang trinkets and antiques everywhere. There was not a part of the house that didn't have some sort of antique or old thing in it. So in our room, there was an old baptism dress and bridal dress, and there was a bunch of plates along the top wall that had a bunch of interesting pictures and whatever. And we went in July. Okay, so it's July, it's hot. So we were in there in July, and the room was semi-air conditioned, but it wasn't very air conditioned. And they had a bunk bed and a twin bed, so we couldn't sleep in the same bed. So we were in different beds. And there was one night, I remember I was just so hot, okay? I was sitting there, I was sweating, I was getting frustrated, and I woke up, and in the middle of the night, I'm laying there, I'm half asleep, and I feel something ice cold touching my leg, okay? And I'm like, oh, I must be hitting my cold water bottle. That feels really nice. Like, that's great. I'm like, that feels really nice. And then I was like, is my leg that far out? I look down, and my leg's out of the sheets, nowhere near my water bottle, first of all. Nor is my water bottle filled up with anything cold or ice. That room was at least 84 degrees, and I had something ice cold on my left shin.
No.
Ice cold. I looked down, I was like instantly awake.
No.
Instantly awake. And you can't make it make sense to me. That house was not well AC'd, air conditioned, and it was hot in that room for the entire few days that we stayed. And I was warm. That was the one spot on my leg that was ice cold. Like if you have a pop that you pull out of the fridge and you touch it to your back, you're like, ooh, that's what it was. It's like, that is unexplainable. And I told Connor the next morning, I was like, you would not believe.
I hate it.
I did not sleep very well there. I did not sleep very well at all.
Yeah, that just seems like a really creepy place. I really hate that.
Connor was unsettled. The girl was very nice. I wouldn't go back simply for that weird experience, just because I'm not messing with that. But like, she was very nice. It was a very cool house. Should you say that again? Yes, lady was good. But personally, I wouldn't. But like, I just, that was terrible. So hearing some of the things that other people go through, I'm like, I would just not simply handle that.
Yeah, just not.
No.
It's just not.
No, it wouldn't go well for me. Oh, it's just terrifying, some of the things. And I look at these, I'm like, why would you do that? Why?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's scary when it's an accident. When it's on purpose, it's even worse.
It's just so terrible. Should we do one more story and then call it? So, another real story here. A few years ago, my friends, a group of girls, decided to try this out with a group of guys. We were in the 12th grade at the time. My group of girls had messed around with it before to varying degrees of success. Well, this time, it was my hands on the planchette? We're going to call it that. With my other girlfriend. This thing was moving crazy fast. faster than I had ever seen, and seemed to be getting quite agitated by the group of guys we were with, who were joking around and not taking it seriously. It essentially told them to shut up and stop talking. I told the guys, seriously, please stop being rude. I'm kind of freaked out. Anyways, because I was getting nervous, one of the guys took over. He was a bit more serious about it. Almost immediately, the thing spelled out, "Don't open the door." We were all in the basement and there was only one door, so we all kind of looked over at it nervously. Because I was getting anxious, I took the blanket and kind of hid my face. It immediately spelled out, "Don't hide from me." Everyone was freaked out. The guy who had his hands on the planchette literally started to cry. He wanted to take his hands off, but we have this rule that you don't take your hands off. You get it to say goodbye. Everyone wanted to stop, but it took about 10 minutes of asking dumb questions until the thing finally slid to goodbye. One of the guys speculated afterwards that it meant don't open the metaphorical door of the spiritual world. The reason being is we were told them to never ask for a sign or else it kind of lets the spirit roam free outside of the board. Before that guy took over, they kept asking for a sign, only for me to cut them off mid-sentence and tell them to knock it off. So this made some sense. Looking back on it, I am very much quite atheist, so not entirely sure what to make of the situation. But I won't touch that thing ever again.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
They should have opened the door. They should, like, the literal door, not the, like, the metaphorical, like, spiritual one. I don't know. I feel like in every scary movie, you gotta open the door. So, like, open the door. I want to know.
Just out of curiosity.
Like, out of straight curiosity, I want to know what would have happened if they opened that door. Like, knowing, like, how just my luck would have gone, a broom would have, like, fallen, and I would have, like, screamed and died.
I mean, like, I've had some stuff, like, happen where it was just pure, like, coincidence. It wasn't scary, but I still ran out of the room. Like,
yeah, there's sometimes you're like, ugh.
Well, I mean,
like when you hear something fall in the basement, you're like, no.
Well, this is just a story that, like, I like to bring up every now and then. You remember this story I told where I was on the treadmill in the storage room at Mom and Dad's place. Again, Mom and Dad's place. I feel like
it's all your fault.
I feel like we could just have an episode about Mom and Dad's place.
We could have an episode about that place. We could do an episode there, but I'm not sure Mom and Dad would appreciate it. We'd make it so much worse.
We could do it in the woods.
I am not doing an episode in the woods. Hell to the fuck no.
Anyways, this isn't really like a ghost story, but it freaked me out. I was on the treadmill, and Mom and Dad had this mirror by the light switch. Yep. Dumb place to put a mirror, by the way. Right on a light switch. Stupid. Anyways, so the lights started flickering. And I was like, okay, that's weird, but I'm going to continue. If it happens again, I'm getting the fuck out. So the lights flickered again. I'm like, oh fuck. I started running out, but I wanted to be responsible, so I had to turn off the lights. I quickly ran to the door, flipped the light switch, and the mirror fell onto the ground. And I was like, fucking shit. Nobody else was home besides Abby. So I'm like, Abby, we have to clean up. And I had to text Mom. I'm like, Mom, I broke the mirror. She's like, oh, what mirror? And I was like, oh, the mirror that was in the storage room, just by the light switches. And she's like, oh, well, that's okay. I was planning on getting rid of that anyways. Or something like that.
They're just like, man, there's one less thing I have to do on my list.
Yeah, they were trying to figure out what to do with the mirror. And
they've had that for forever.
It was time for that mirror to go. So maybe it was just luck, I guess.
Well, when you're alone, though, you freak yourself out and stuff happens, and it doesn't even need to be super scary, but when it happens, like, oh my god, simply because you're alone.
Yeah, and the storage room is creepy.
That storage room is weird. I don't like it.
It's creepy. But also, like, this was back when the storage room was, like, very minimal. Right now we have a bunch of exercise equipment in there. We have a TV in there, and lots of stuff that makes it not as creepy. But back then, it was just the elliptical, the treadmill, and then the TV, and of course a bunch of storage stuff, like just stuff that we kept because why throw things away, right?
Yeah.
But and like the fact that like Abby was there, but I think she was upstairs.
Probably.
Made I remember because I made her clean up the glass with me, but it was just being alone. Being in the basement by yourself is creepy.
I don't like it. That basement's creepy.
I think I could have just been psyching myself out, but also the fact that the lights were flickering and those lights don't really flicker is creepy. There's a lot of storage room stuff that we could talk about. Just like going to bed, remembering that I turned off the light, that I woke up one day and the light was on. And like I was like the first one up.
Yeah, there's a couple rooms in that house that really freak me out. The storage room is one.
Abby's old
room. That one freaks me out.
The poor thing. She would always hear stuff banging on her window at night. Just creepy. That room is creepy.
I hate that room. Well, when I was in there after one of my surgeries, I heard a whole bunch of shit fall in the closet. And keep in mind, I was on some pretty hefty painkillers.
Right.
But I know I heard this because this was towards the end of my recovery. Like, I was going to go home, like, in a day or two.
Yeah.
I was getting better and used to the pain meds.
Yep.
I know that it felt like all in the closet. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to shit my pants. I just stared at it.
Right.
But I don't know, things are different at night. And in that room, that house, there's just so many weird things.
It gives me the ick.
Well, even then, there's been some times where, like, because I'm a little bit more in tune, right? There's been times in every place that I've, like, lived where I've just sat up in the middle of the night and I just stare towards a specific area in the room. And it's not because I actually see anything. Like, I'm awake and I just stare, and it's because I feel a pull in that area. And it's like I don't physically see anything, but I feel something.
Yeah.
And there was one night here, I woke up and I woke Connor up because I had a really, really bad nightmare. Yeah, and he was fully awake at this point, and I was just staring off. He was like, "What are you looking at over there?" He couldn't figure it out. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm staring. And I can't explain it. Is it something? Maybe. Is it something? Not anything? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not anything. Maybe I'm just being weird.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. There's just different things happen at night. And I think with my experiences and everything that I've experienced paranormal in my life, I could never do a Ouija board because I think you're asking for something bad. I think it's fine to connect with the good spirits, and that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
But it's such a slippery slope, and it's so easy to get caught up in something that you're not intending to.
Like, even if you don't bring in a spirit, you could still bring in an energy. Mm-hmm. And just, like, the vibes of it, like, just feeling that heavy energy lurking around you at all times. Scary stuff. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, definitely Mom and Dad's house is pretty creepy, and I feel like maybe I am to blame for it because it was fine until like we did that.
When did you guys do that? Was it after I left?
I don't remember. It was a while ago.
We should do an episode there. We should. I want to see what would happen.
Do an episode in the storage room, or or just in the basement.
We could do it in the basement. They have a lot of blank walls and like a place to set up.
We'll see if Mom and Dad approve of that.
Yeah, and be like, hey, you know how Paige did a Ouija board in your house? Now we want to do a paranormal podcast.
Oh gosh,
I think Dad would actually be up for it. He's like, yeah, let's see.
The fact that like things keep happening, and I feel like we just keep bringing in more energies with Mom and Dad, like opening the door to the 3 knocks, like, and then open the door because they don't know like we do.
That was so stupid.
They're just oblivious. They're a little naive. With the paranormal stuff, I feel like Mom and Dad were just naive. But, another story.
No.
I love this one.
This is just an entire episode about our parents' house.
Okay, this wasn't actually in the house, but okay.
Perfect.
You know how creepy it is bringing every Tuesday night, bringing the garbage outside to the curb every Tuesday night was creepy on its own, and you know it. Because I always thought we live out in the country, so I always thought a coyote was going to get me. But one time, I heard a little kid scream.
No, you didn't.
I did. I heard it was.
No.
What? I swear to God, I heard this kid screaming. I go in. I was like, Dad, I think I heard this kid scream. He's like, oh, okay, let's check it out. So we walked down the driveway. We looked down the road towards the river, and Dad called out. He was like, hello? No response. No response. The thing is, Shay, you know that there's no kids that live there, in that area. It's all teachers. But there's besides
yeah, no one would be doing that.
Yeah, besides the ones that live behind us, there's no kids. So that was just really creepy. Just hearing that, and then not. There's a lot of stories about, and I don't want to say too many of them because we gotta save them for a future podcast. But yeah, that was one that kind of just I remember very vividly.
That's terrifying.
It is, yeah.
I remember bringing the garbage out and I'd sprint back in something's gonna get me.
For our listeners, that driveway is pretty long. We can have probably lined up probably 4 cars.
Yeah.
Just about. So it's a pretty long driveway, but also you think that you're going to see some red eyes that are looking at you.
One day I know I'm going to see it, and when I do, everyone is going to come to that window. They're going to experience it with me because I will not be the only one.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid that it's a demon or anything. I'm afraid it's a coyote.
Man, I don't even care.
I don't want a coyote watching me.
Do you ever hear the coyotes playing at night?
I do sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hear the coyotes out there. Personally, I find coyotes more scary than a ghost.
Oh man, not me. They're little puppies.
No, they can hurt you.
Well, they could, but if you're on the porch or in the driveway, they're not coming over there.
One coyote, sure, whatever, that's fine. But a pack of coyotes, which they're usually in a pack, no, thank you.
I don't know. I don't know. That's never been a huge fear.
But yeah, the Tuesday nights bringing out the garbage to the curb was always the worst.
Yeah.
It was just it just brings back PTSD, you know?
Yeah. We'll have to do an episode just on that house. It's gross.
Yeah, for sure.
Do a couple of the houses that we've done visits to, and we should do a personal experience house episode.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Sure. Just fun. We're just coming up with ideas.
There's just a lot of stories that I could tell, I feel like.
Same. I have a lot.
All right.
But yeah. Well, successful episode. I'm not going to sleep tonight. It'll be great. It'll be great. Can't wait.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, for listening.
Thank you. Have a good night.